Phyllis says that core emotions are text messages from God, and most of us have blocked God's number. We're like, well, I never get any text messages from God. Well, you blocked his number.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Iris Global Green Room. Right before we hopped on, I checked with our resident Green Room nerds. Hello, Green Room nerds, off camera. They don't like that. They didn't respond well to that, especially James. I was chatting with them, and actually, crazy thing is, about 60% of you guys subscribe, but there's 40% that don't. It doesn't cost you any. It doesn't cost them anything. They just got hit a little button. And it's free. And it blesses us. It blesses these guys. I don't know how, but it does. It blesses these guys. It blesses us. Do that. Help us because we love doing this. And we get to do this because of incredible subscribers like you guys. Hit the bell to let you know all the notifications. Leave a comment. Do all that stuff. It gets it out. Why? Why am I saying this at the beginning? I always say that at the end. But this is one that you're not going to want to miss. Today, I have... two incredible friends, Dr. Glenn and Phyllis Hill. How are you guys?
Good, because we're with you.
Thrilled to be here.
Yes.
I am super excited. I'm excited because I think my wife wants this. She loves it every time I get around you guys because I get better. I get better at being a husband. I get better at listening. For those of you guys who don't know who they are, I would encourage you. You can go back to, when did we do this? I don't have the date here, but I want to say about 2 years ago, we had you guys on, and it was awesome. We got so much feedback from having the two of you guys on and talking about emotions. I wanted to kick this off by reading some of the comments, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys we'll introduce you guys. But these guys have an amazing marriage tool. They've been Moosey, my wife, and my marriage counselor, marriage help, marriage guru, whatever it is. Like, you guys have really brought so much incredible change into the way that I look at emotions. Wow. And the feedback that we got from the first podcast was awesome. Just check some of this out. I want to just heap some, because most of the time they just talk smack about me. So it was nice to have some good comments here. Here we go. My life has been so transformed by the connection codes. Personally, I feel so powerful and secure in my relationships, and it's brought me it's brought so much goodness into the way I preach, teach, and engage in ministry. Will, this was a God thing for us. We literally were talking about this all last night, trying to figure out how to fix the disconnect. And then we sit down and watch the Green Room, and this is on. Wow. People connect through emotions, not logistics. This one hit me. Such a revelation. I'm learning so much. Just a couple more. I've been really reluctant to this kind of stuff, which I would say was probably where I started out. But this was really good. Wow. And helpful. Here's another one. I can't wait to get into your class. My marriage so needs this. My goodness, this was phenomenal. Listen, on and on. Thank you, Will and Hills. So good. Hope young ones get a hold of this and it assists them with their relationships. I can just keep going on and on. They talk about your book. That 11 seconds. Never mind. That's a different part. I should have played. Do you know what we're talking about?
I do.
You can go back and watch it in the original.
You were jumping to that, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Hills, how are you guys?
Exciting.
It is exciting. It's exciting to be here. It's interesting. I think that before we came on today, just realizing the spiritual attack all the time when you are trying to change and help marriages, which in turn helps families, which in turn helps communities. There's an attack that's always happening. Yeah. And at times I forget just the truth in that, and I just this morning we were talking about it, just looking over the last couple of years, and our daughter-in-law has been battling stage 4 cancer. And, another daughter has really been questioning her own journey, her own faith. And you go, wow, yeah, there's a real attack that happens. And then we were just talking about our whole team, like our staff and our team, and some of the things that have happened there and that are happening. And you go, wow, Satan is always trying to get in and to destroy what is good and to attack what is good. So we're definitely aware of that, but we're so thankful for friends like you and even just this opportunity, because we did get a lot of great feedback after getting to be on, and we've connected even more deeply with some of your people and have been so blessed by those relationships from all over the world, and that's super fun for us. And so thank you for having us back.
We love you guys. Moosey and I absolutely love you guys. A little bit of history, just for maybe those who are watching for the first time, because I know we have new viewers. I would encourage you to go back and find listen to the podcast. We might hit some of the same stuff, but there's a few new things that I'd like to go after. But yeah, we met at Legacy Church, and Lyle and Allison Phillips, and if Lyle is pastor of Legacy, had you guys come in and speak on marriage. And it was right after Moosey and I moved out to Nashville or Franklin. And I got dragged on a Friday night or whatever it was. I think it was actually a couple of nights. I think it was 3 nights, something like that.
That's right.
And I got a manual. I brought my buddy Dylan with me. These guys know who Dylan is. By the way, he's in Brazil. He's doing amazing. I brought Dylan with me, and because I needed some backup. And I wanted somebody to agree with the fact that this was all a bunch of garbage. And because I knew my wife was just going to eat it up. And I listened to you the first time, the first night. I was like, heard this, been there, done that. And then I think it was day 2. I honestly wasn't even listening, if you want the truth. Because I'd done years of marriage therapy, years of all the things, really since our entire marriage. And I think it was day 2, you talked about fear. And I know what the Bible says about fear. At least I thought I did at the time. And you started talking about fear from a scientific perspective. And if I can be really honest, that's probably one of the only reasons why I actually perked up and listened, because you didn't just give biblical truth, you matched it with scientific truth. And I don't know if it's just the Massachusetts in me, or like I'm a skeptic. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it was something that as soon as I heard the methodology, the research that you've done, both of you guys have done, but that's what really, you mentioned, forgive me, I'm going to butcher this, but you mentioned like basically putting someone on a pillar, and you start them off at 3 feet or 1 foot up. You can measure their vulnerability. You can measure the fear physically in their sweat, in their blood pressure. And then you made this statement, and I forget what number it was. It was like, once you reach a certain point, 20 feet or 30 feet, up to 1,000 feet.
The average is 43 feet, and there's some variations it's been replicated a number of times, but we just go with 43 feet.
That 43 and above, it's the same. You could be 1,000 feet up in the air, 43 feet up in the air, and it's the same. And I was like, that's incredible. And I started listening. And then, we sat with you guys, came to your house where your offices were, and you got to see all of our garbage. And I will say that I'm a hard one to receive. I really am. Especially when it comes to my marriage. But when walking away from our time with you guys, I got to realize how horrible of a father I was. And I know that that's probably wasn't the goal, but I actually walked out of there with more conviction about the way that I was leading my kids and emotions personally than even my marriage. And I began to implement change immediately.
Wow.
and I'm not the best, but I'm so grateful to both of you guys because it changed it. I can say, and my kids might say something different, but for me, it changed the way I preached. I can't preach fear is faith in Satan anymore without throwing a bunch of caveats in there. And that used to be my statement. And I would agree with it to a certain extent. So thank you. Before we get in, yes, all the good comments. Yes, you've spoken into Musimi, but I just wanted to personally thank you guys because I'm a tough case. And you guys really helped shift some things and make me open my eyes to the beauty of the expanse of the kingdom, dig deep into the scripture, see things through a different lens. It made me do a deep dive into Luke and Acts, which is for me a journey into the beautiful God-man, the emotion that is in Luke and Acts, and I don't know. It just opened up my eyes to something so much more. Luke being a doctor, so many things shifted because of you guys, and so I just want to thank you.
Wow.
And I will talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, but at the front, I wanted to lead with thank you. Thank you for what you've done for so many of our viewers. Thank you how you served some of our missionaries. There are people that are still on the field because of you guys. And so thank you. Welcome. I'll try to shut up now.
Yeah. Well, I just love it. And I try to always emphasize, and we reference ourselves this way, and we always want to be introduced this way. We're the founders. We're the discoverers of the connection codes. We're not the inventors. We're not the creators. I believe that there is a God designer and that God designed all this. We just happen to sweep it into a pile and put a label on it. The connection codes have existed as long as humanity has existed. And so much of the connection codes teachings are self-evident. They just are. Just like, and we use this example a lot, that you didn't decide to start breathing oxygen. You did not vote on that this morning, last week, last month, at birth, ever. You just breathe oxygen. Yeah. Well, why don't you do something different? Breathe ice cream for a week just for fun. Well, you don't get that choice. So when we began to understand, and my discovery of the connection codes was just from, what's the word? Not just discouragement, but disillusionment, because I'd gone through all of this academic training and nothing worked. And now I was on the other side of the curtain with my colleagues who basically said, nothing really works. You know, we meander through the forest with people, try to find some food, something to eat, but we really don't know. We don't have a good direction. And I was a little bit older whenever I, accumulated a number of degrees and certifications. And I thought, surely there's something better than that. And even looking at our own story, at that point we'd been married 30 years. And 24 hours before our wedding, we were excited about happily ever after. 48 hours after our wedding, we were like, oh, shoot, what? We just signed a 70-year contract. I figured I'd die when I was 90. I was hoping it'd be sooner at that point. But sorry. No
that was in the past.
But so I'm like, how is that possible? We're not idiots. If we were idiots, it's like, well, they can't even tie their own shoes. They're just dumb as bricks. We still love them, but they're just really stupid. That would make sense. They're incompetent. They can't figure it. No, we're very intelligent, gifted, talented people, and we were disastrous relationally. How can that be? And we didn't do it by plan. Again, a day before our wedding, we were just like, this is going to be so amazing. It's so cool. And so I just started with a blank piece of paper and I said, we got to figure this out. What caused these two to lose each other? And now we know it's all relationships. It's all interactions. It's not just a marriage thing. I'm a marriage therapist by vocation, so it grew out of my marriage therapy practice. But now we know it's actually just human.
You're also a sexologist.
Right.
Which I find fascinating.
I do too.
I have to ask, what is that?
Well, sexology is just the gestalt, the big umbrella that covers everything involving sex. I'm also a sex therapist, but that's more basically addressing the dysfunction of sexual relationships, whereas sexology is the whole field, the whole study of it, which I believe is the weirdest degree in the world. It's the funnest too.
You're the only one I've ever met.
There's not a whole lot of
that.
us. My license number is 2,950, and there's been a number more since then, but that's not a real big number. And a bunch of those 2,950 have passed away since then. Some of them I know personally, or knew personally, I guess. So, yeah, it's a really fascinating degree. And part of my interest in pursuing that doctorate was because there are very few voices of faith at that table. And I believe, again, I think there's a God designer, and I'm not mad at atheists and people that don't think there's a God designer, but we at least need to have a voice at the table. And worldwide, there are very, very, very little of that. And I think we're missing horribly for a lot of people because of that. That there is no, and some of it's just math. I mean, if you are involved sexually with only one partner who's also involved sexually with only one partner, we just wiped out a whole lot of problems. And I'm not saying that magically fixes everything. But then that's math. And I didn't quote a Bible verse. I didn't reference coming to church on Sunday. I'm just telling you, and I can tell anybody on the planet, that's just true. It's just math. You can be an atheist, you can be a Hindu, I don't care what you are. It's just math. And there are very few voices out there that are willing to even present that because it sounds proselytizing. And I've been told that before. Well, we can't proselytize people. I'm like, I'm talking math.
Right.
There was no proselytizing there at all. It's just true. It's literally a human truth, not based on a scripture. I also believe the scriptures support that, but it was true before somebody wrote it down to say that it's true.
Did you ever get pushback from the church?
Oh, goodness.
With going after that degree?
Yeah, before, during, and after.
Even now? Do you think times have changed where people are a lot more?
No, not that I've experienced.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
People, well, so many of my colleagues are atheists. They are, and so it's like, well, you can't associate with those people, and they're wonderful people. I've had very few. I mean, there's jerks everywhere in every field, but I've had very few negative interactions at all with other sexologists. So I just think we have to be at the table and we have to present this message. And again, I'm not judging anybody, and I'm talking about the World Health Organization, the United Nations. We have to get into these big tables to have a seat and a voice at them.
I love that. I've been studying out love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And for the past kind of 2 years, as I went into the original language, those heart, mind, soul, strength, they don't mean what I think most of us think that they mean, right? It's not your feelings, your thoughts. It's all encompassing, everything. It's the seedbed of your emotion. It's your decision making. Your mind is given to you by God. Loving Him with all of it means going down those roads like He created us for purpose. I would encourage anyone to deep dive on your own into the actual root in the Hebrew of what those words actually mean. I just love the fact that I feel like you guys both just represent that really well. And I love watching anybody go after excellence, which is what you guys have done with the connection codes. We were just hanging out a couple days ago, and I love the way you put it. You said, school got me to understand the problem in marriage. But it wasn't until you jumped in and were like, that's fine. We can know the problem, but how do we fix it? And that was really, at least from when we were just hanging out, I walked out, I was like, that's so beautiful. I think it represents how you guys are one and how you guys have done this together. And so I want to open it up for you guys to fill us in on what's been going on from the last podcast and tell us, what's been taking place with the connection codes globally, locally, whatever. Just catch us up.
Yeah, well, I do have to throw in real quickly that I thought I was pretty brilliant, that I really, really pointed the problem. Yeah. And Phyllis did it delicately, as she usually does. But she was like, that doesn't really help us today. And that is the first step. But she's like, people don't want to just have you go around. You have a problem. You have a problem.
Right.
People would like to know. Well, what do I do about it? I'm like, I don't know. My job is just go. Well, you stink, and you're awful, and you're a disaster, and you are doomed.
There
we go.
That's why Phyllis is the secret sauce in all of this.
Yes, and Phyllis like, no. We got to do a little bit more than that. It's like, oh, I didn't think about the solution side of it. Yeah.
Well, specifically to what you were just saying, what has been happening for 2 years. And part of it, I would say it goes back to trying to figure out how to get the message out and what that looks like. And, it's interesting, in 2020, webinars just were blowing up everywhere. We were all stuck at home. And so we jumped and we got into that. And that's how we expanded really quickly, and how we discovered the world, and the world discovered us as far as the connection codes. And so that was beautiful. And then we, from there, saw the need to put together a course, in the sense of not everyone can show up in person. Not everyone can have the opportunity to sit with Glenn in his private practice. And so it was like, okay, let's put together a course. Oh yeah, let's do a book as well. So it's like those things have been built. So there's a lot of great resources, but then people need community. People want to gather in community. And so we were like, well, let's, and also I think people came to us and said, we want to be able to teach the way you teach this stuff. Like, we want to bring it to our community. Or therapists were coming saying, we want to use this in our private practice with our clients. So how can we be certified in connection codes? And we're like, wow, that's a great idea. So then we started the certification program. And then people were like, you know what? Everyone needs this. So not just if they're wanting to be certified coaches. And so then we're like, okay, let's build a school of connection online. And that's been going incredibly well for the last 2 years. And then I would say our most recent project is really seeing the need to minister specifically to churches, which is really, when we speak and we travel, our platform is mostly churches.
Yeah.
We've done businesses, we've done some schools, but it's mostly churches.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, how can we do this better to present this information in churches, but also to encourage small groups to continue the work, to continue showing up, to continue with each other. And, there's a lot of things out there. We were talking with the guys before you got here, and about, who was it that y'all were talking about? Perkins. Corey, and his that he works with this app. It's all about physical fitness, and it's blowing up. I mean, it's just
PerkFit, #PerkFit. Yeah.
Hashtag. So here,
Corey actually started the podcast with me.
Okay, I remembered that from the last time we were on. He was in the room. He was in the house when we were here. And now he's doing something that he's brilliant at. Yeah. But the guys were talking about that it's a community. People want community. Yeah. So we're always going, okay, how can we build more community inside of communities? Because a church is considered a community, but where are we missing? And I think that, and again, depending on where you are, like, I think we live in a place, this bubble, this Bible Belt bubble we live in. The churches are huge.
Yeah.
But people are still lonely. People are still dying. People are still missing the community. And, we were at an event this past weekend and with our kids and our grandkids, and our son was saying, kind of like, wow, back in the day, there was so much more community inside of our churches than there is now. And something's been lost in all of that. And so what we're working on currently is just what we're calling a church curriculum. And yes, it's still speaking into marriages, but we know that that's where there's so much pain. And when there's a lot of pain in your marriages, then there's pain in your family.
Yeah.
And then your capacity is pretty low within the church community. You don't have any, if you're in conflict within your marriage, if there's a lot of pain, you don't have anything left. You're not going to be volunteering to show up for anything else. You'll go to church because you feel that's important and you check mark it off.
Yeah.
but you're dying inside because there's so much pain in your marriage.
Yeah.
So we still want to address marriage, but we also want to make it really easy for churches to implement this. And one of the things that we have been told over the last few years is, where are the scriptures?
Yeah.
You
That
know?
was some of my first questions.
Yeah, like what? And I would say, oh, well, where this started, the connection codes and the tools that we brought to the table were because Glenn had a private practice. And my thing was, babe, you can't teach each person individually. You're going to miss most of the world. So we got to get it out. What you're teaching in your private practice needs to be in a book. It needs to be in a class. It needs to be more and more. But it's kind of, now that we're looking at it, of course, there's so much scripture throughout all of this, but people go, yeah, but we don't see it. So we're developing this curriculum so that it is full of scripture.
Yeah.
Because, there is so much about that. And I know, we're faith-based. I grew up as a missionary in Germany. I've only, it's like Jesus has been a part of my life since my earliest memories, right? The love of his word, the love of his church, like it's all a part of my life. And, we met at a Bible camp. Like Glenn always says, the Bible camp is what saved his life because his dad died when he was 8. His family fell apart. But that is it's that Bible camp that always was where his heart and his life was drawn to every summer. And, that's where he became a Christian, and like, it's so much a part of his story, and it's part of our story. And that's, even within our story, I would say we started our marriage with what we thought were all the things, right? When you have God as the center, we prayed together, we studied his word together, we did ministry together. How can that not be the perfect foundation for a marriage? And so when we
it's not?
That's the problem, is it sounds so good.
Yeah, right? It sounds almost blasphemous to say we need more. We need practical tools, because when we lost each other right away, we were devastated, shocked. We didn't know where to turn.
Yeah.
We did all the things. We prayed more. We read God's word more. But we were so at odds all the time with each other. And so let me just
throw in, not because we wanted to be.
Right.
I've adored her literally since the day I met her. We're not sure if it's reciprocal or not. But
wow, you were really cute. I thought you were really cute.
Yeah. But so it's not that we didn't want to be close. We didn't want to be connected. We just didn't know how. We got lost from each other so quickly, literally on our honeymoon. And then it literally took a quarter of a century for us to find our way back. Well,
and we often tell this story that, and I think for a lot of your listeners, I think this is what a lot of people can relate to. I would say, thank you for unloading the dishwasher. And in that statement, Glenn felt so much pain. He didn't know how to tell me there was pain. He would react, though, in some snarky response, like
I would react from the pain,
right,
which she had done.
Right.
Again, this is my understanding of the day, because for me, when she said thanks for unloading the dishwasher, I'm happy to be married to one of the most productive people on the planet.
Yeah,
she gets more done in a day than most people do in 2 weeks. So what it sounded like to me, that she was going, oh my gosh, we should have a party. Glenn did something productive for a change. It's a miracle. Throw some confetti, invite people over. She didn't say that, think it, believe it, feel it, nothing. But that's what I experienced. I didn't know how to tell her that. And so my response would be like, well, it's not like it's the only thing I've done today. She'd go, I didn't say it was the only thing you did today. I just said, thanks for unloading the dishwasher. I'm like, well, I don't know why you have to make such a big deal about it. Like it's a miracle. Then, of course, this poor girl was like, what?
Yeah.
She had no idea what was happening in me, because I didn't tell her what was happening in me. And Phyllis was never to blame for any of that. She was never wrong, never at fault. But I would also suggest Glenn was never wrong. I was not trying to feel pain in it. I just did. It's literally brain chemistry. And now I'm able to say it to her literally in the moment, which is what we're designed to do. You stub your toe, you say, ow. You don't wait 3 hours or till your next therapy session to unpack it with your therapist. Well, Monday afternoon, I stubbed my toe and I just wanted to yell. And then you yell out, ow, that hurts.
Right.
Your therapist would be like, this is Thursday. What?
Right.
Well, I was going to wait. And that's what we've done in our culture is we've scheduled, and I'm a therapist, so I'm one of them. But we have that mentality that you have a struggle on Monday, so you set up an appointment for next Tuesday, and then we'll unpack it. And that is completely non-human.
Well, okay, so that's like my life. That's like what I do. I don't know if I should talk about this without my wife being here, but yeah, I'm like, okay, we can't work through this. If we try,
right,
then it will blow it up. It'll become worse. Yeah. Usually, it's over something bigger than stubbing a toe. Mm-hmm. But and so we need historically we've just been we'll get a third party in, and that will mediate the situation.
Yeah.
Well, and for us, you say, it's usually something bigger than stubbing your toe, but it's logistics. We lose each other in the logistics.
Yes,
and
I love logistics.
Yeah. Well, and most of us function in logistics. Just like even in that situation, it's often he said, she said, and we would get at a stalemate over things like that one specifically. Thank you for unloading the dishwasher. And his response made no sense to me. And so I didn't have the tools to know what to do next. And so I would say things like, normal people say you're welcome.
Right.
When someone says thank you, you say you're welcome. Well, that just for him was another dagger in his chest because he was feeling so much pain and he's supposed to say you're welcome with all the pain. But I didn't.
Well, what I'm experiencing, I'm sorry, interrupting, but
okay.
What I'm experiencing is she stabbed me in the arm with an ice pick and I'm supposed to say, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that didn't make any sense.
That doesn't make sense.
Right.
And then we would go to a third party or another couple or counselor, pastor, whatever. And we've talked about this many times and we're in agreement on this. 100% of the time, exactly 100% of the time, we would walk away and it was 3-1. The other couple and Phyllis would agree that Glenn's ridiculous, that it makes no sense for him to respond that way to her saying, thanks for unloading the dishwasher. So then Phyllis, I believe from a very good heart, would walk out going, oh my gosh, thank goodness we settled the logistics of that. She wouldn't say the word logistics, but she's like, we got this help. Glenn felt more unheard than he did before.
Right.
So now I'm
paid
wounded.
For it.
Yeah. And now I'm wounded for, pick a number, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, months. And that was the story of our life, of our relationship, again, for years and years. It wasn't just one bad weekend. And we had no idea, number one, what's happening, number two, what to do with it. And now, first of all, the brain doesn't distinguish physical pain from emotional pain. So when I felt wounded, when I felt hurt, it's just like she had stabbed me in the arm.
You can't skip over it. We
yeah,
can't just.
You said that so fast.
You said
and then
that.
Woo.
Can you say that again?
The brain, that was one of it's a connection codes protocol, and one of the things that we learned in the research is that the brain doesn't distinguish physical pain from emotional pain, and so except over time, which that's a little
okay. Well,
caveat.
slow down.
I want unpack this for me
because saying that the research it's through brain scanning, right? How does your body respond when you're emotionally hurt, and how does your body respond when an ice pick is put into your arm?
So just use it specifically. So we take an ice pick. This would be kind of cool to do.
Yeah.
Take an ice pick, jab it in your arm, and we have you hooked up to a brain scan, and we record it. We register what happened. The pain region of your brain would just really, really activate. Then, which this would be weird, and it's hard to do this research because then people don't behave the same way. Humans are bad lab rats. But if we could have you hooked up to a brain scan and you're experiencing something with Moosey where you feel really wounded by what she said, and then we look at those two brain scans, you can't tell them apart. Which one is where Will got stabbed in the arm with an ice pick, and which one is where he felt wounded with Moosey? We don't know.
Why
can't tell the difference.
What's happening?
What's happening right now?
Because people don't get that. And what we've done, there's so many things culturally, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me. That is a lie. And as far as I know, every U.S. kid, and maybe others, I don't know, learned that. And I was told that over and over again. So I grew up with the saying, you stop your crying, I'll give you something to cry about. Which I can remember, and my father passed away when I was 8 years old, so obviously any memory of him was 8 or younger. I can remember even then when my mother or father would say that, I was thinking, No, I already have a reason to cry. You don't need to spank me to give me a reason to cry. I'm not crying as a hobby. I didn't say any of this, or might not be here today. But I already had a reason to cry, and I'm not mad at them. I think they were doing what they thought was helpful. But they learned to shut me down early. No, they didn't learn. They shut me down, and I learned to shut down early. I broke my arm multiple times when I was a kid, but the first time I was 5 years old, and I never said a word. It was 3 days later that my mother noticed I didn't use my right arm anymore. So I'm thinking, what is happening for a 5-year-old? I have she just turned 7, but I have that age range, granddaughter. If she broke her arm, stop the world. Nothing else matters. We're going to deal with this pain. Good. That's what we're supposed to do. She's not supposed to just be quiet, and we'll notice in a few days that, hey, I notice you're not using your right arm anymore. And then we find out, oh, it's broken. So people don't get that. And we faith-based people, we church people do that horribly. May offend some people here, but we're like, oh, you just need to be more thankful. You need a gratitude journal. You're feeling wounded, you're feeling pain, you're just feeling crushed by life, whatever. You need to, and I'm not saying it's wrong to have a gratitude journal. No, Will needs to process through what's happening for him right now in the moment. And again, it's not supposed to be a 3-minute, 3-hour, 3-day, 3-week delay. It's supposed to happen immediately. That's what our 1-year-olds do. And this is why one of many things I love about the Connection Codes. It's just the human condition. We would never say to our 1-year-old, whatever, you pinched your finger, let's give it a while, and then you can tell me, then you can cry about it. That doesn't make any sense. I hope we would never do that to a 1-year-old. Well, what about a 15-month-old, 18, 2-year-old? There's no birthday where we're supposed to say, happy birthday, buddy, you're 6, now shut up. We don't want to hear from you anymore. That's not supposed to happen. So we're just older kids. There's no point at which you're like, okay, now we're going to do a brain surgery and we're going to switch the whole mechanism. So that if you experience something on Monday, you wait till Friday to process it. That's never supposed to happen. And unfortunately, we have done that. We constantly tell people, just choose joy, just be thankful, be happy. And they have a nail in their foot. And we're like, well, you don't have a nail in your other foot. Focus on the other foot and look at your hands and look at your stomach. You don't have any cuts on those. What? I have a nail in my foot. Yeah, but you shouldn't focus on the negative. And we do that to people all the time. Oh, you just need to move past that. Well, no, I still have a nail in my foot. Or maybe I took it out, but it still hurts. Well, you should be over that by now. And it's just not human. And we're trying to get people to not be human from a good intention. I don't think it's malicious.
I want to slow it down even more.
Yeah.
I think in growing up in the church, growing up in the Word, I think we so misunderstand the complexity of our bodies, our minds, that and when you take it back to that author of all of it is God.
Yeah.
He created us. He created a brain that houses emotion.
Yeah.
I did not know that till I was 50 years old. So growing up in the church, growing up in the Word, never heard it ever. So I was shocked. Matter of fact, I was one of those who believed with all of my heart that you chose joy and that other emotions you just opt out of. I very seriously said, I don't do emotion. Glenn has enough for both of us. He cries easily. I thought that's what emotion was. And I'm like, he does it. He can have it. I choose joy. And I was so shut down in my body, which at 50 caught up to me. And, my body stopped functioning. And then I was shocked by that. Like, wait, I've done all the things, all the healthy things, but I completely ignored emotion. And when I started learning the science behind emotion, I want to scream it from a mountaintop because I am such a believer in God's creation, which includes myself. So he created me with emotion, but we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, emotion has a negative connotation, almost like a weakness to it.
Right.
And so what Glenn just said, like the body doesn't distinguish between physical pain and emotional pain. That is a huge, huge thing. Like for everyone listening, if you just take that right there and start unpacking that, Because I think even as a church family, as a community, when someone is physically hurt, we gather around.
Yeah.
We give it all the time. We bring meals. We pray. We anoint with oil. Physical pain, we are really good at showing up for.
Yeah. I've experienced it with Musi going through cancer.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
So thankful for that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to emotional pain, we actually judge it.
100%.
We judge your weakness if you just prayed more, if you just give it to God, if you forgive, if you would just forgive. And so we do not understand. That's not how God created our bodies. He did not. We have to understand what to do with pain. Physical pain, we know what we say, ow, we go to the doctor, we sleep it off, we take Tylenol, whatever it is, right? We gather the community around when there is physical pain. But I think that we really don't know what to do with emotional pain. Even the idea of, you probably should go see a therapist has a bad aura around it. Like, you are so messed up, you need to go to therapy.
Right.
And we just don't know. We don't understand. We don't know how to teach it. We don't know how to present it. We don't know what to think about it. And so we've really missed, and we've hurt our community horribly. And it has so many layers. Like, Glenn just now even said, if you step on a nail, you say, ow. I know women specifically, which is very sad. I'll speak for women, but I think that women in the church are really taught at a young age, if you step on a nail, you quietly leave the room. You do not draw attention to yourself. You do not say, ow. You do not, in this moment, scream. You go in the other room and you deal with it. You get a Band-Aid or whatever you need to do. I mean, I'm talking about a literal physical ailment.
Really?
Yes. And women have reached out because we teach this, and they're like, actually, I was taught to be quiet, which is similar. How can a 5-year-old break his arm and not say, ow?
Right.
Well, that comes from being taught that crying is bad, saying ow is not tolerated, get over it. And why would a 5-year-old know, no, you have to go to the hospital, you have to get a cast, you have to get help. Well, he didn't. He just knew he was in a lot of pain, but he was already taught, you do not bring attention to yourself, you do not bother the flow of the day, you do not, all of the things, right? So I think that we have really, really, really hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
And then the whole idea is, okay, so where do we start? What if we do begin to understand and acknowledge emotional pain? That seems really overwhelming to people because they're like, what do we do with that? And that's what I love about how God designed all this. I love the tools of the connection codes, which we discovered. And that is to actually tune in. There's so much power in processing.
Yeah.
There's so much power in going, oh, okay, so there's 5 neural regions in our brain that house emotion. God made us all that way. No matter what country you're from, it's all the same. And then we broke down 5 into just 8 core emotions. Part of the reason why we did that is because one of the regions is pain. But in the pain, when you run pain through a brain scan, sad, lonely, and hurt look different on a brain scan.
Then just like ice pick.
Right. Yeah, that'd be a sharp stabbing pain. And you think about it, hurt feels different than lonely. But they're both firing in the pain region of the brain. It's just a different, on a brain scan, they literally look different. It looks like a different readout. And that's the reason we differentiate that. But you can just say pain. It's the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah, you can definitely start there. Pain, just acknowledging pain. I think the deeper you dive, you begin to realize that lonely is what a lot of people are living in.
Yeah.
And that lonely it means unsupported. You can be around humans every single day and still feel lonely. So I think we even miss in the definition, because sometimes we think the way you fix lonely is just get around more people. That's not necessarily true at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you can feel more lonely in a group of 50 people than you did. We sat with a couple recently, and I just love this quote. I know, wish I'd said it myself. But she said, I would rather be alone than feel alone. I thought, whoa. And of course, she's talking about in her marriage, and it was cool because he really oohed her. We'll talk about the ooh in a few minutes, but he was really present with her, and he got it. Because that's incredibly offensive to say that. I mean, for anybody, but for a wife to say to her husband, I'd rather be alone
than
be without you than to feel alone with you right there with me. And he was really present with her, and he's like, oh, shoot. And he realized he's been missing on this for years and years. He has not been present with a super high-powered guy, very successful, but he hasn't been present with her.
Well, but even explaining that further, he's physically with her.
Right. He's geographically present. He's
right. He's just not relationally.
And I'm sure people watching can know exactly what you're talking about. It's a very common thing.
Yeah. And I think that even going back to our church settings, we can be together on a Sunday morning. We can have phenomenal worship time together.
Yeah.
And yet we can leave and get in our car and feel that heaviness of lonely. I feel lonely. I don't feel seen. Mm-hmm. I don't really feel supported. Nobody really knows. Mm-hmm. You know, we even have the, hi, how are you? Great. You know, I mean, we have.
What's the phrase? Blessed and highly favored.
Blessed and highly favored. Like we just come up, like, you know, I mean, even this morning, I think even with you, you're like, how are you? Well, there's always the easy, we're doing great. And on one level we are. But then it's like, yeah, but I was in tears just an hour before I got here.
Yeah.
So at what level do you want me to share how I'm really doing?
Yeah.
And I think that too often we're living in that hour before. That was where we're in the tears, but how many people see the tears? How many people know? Because we don't quite know how to get there.
Yeah.
And that's, again, what I love, when you learn how to access the emotion, how to go, okay, what is happening with me? And for me, I needed it to be simple, and I needed it to be fast. And I wasn't going to read the books. I wasn't going to do all the research findings. That's Glenn's thing. And I'm like, I want to tune into myself, but you got to give me a really simple way to do it. And that's the core emotion wheel. Is really a simple tool. And it's actually, you know, I visualize it now, but we have it in a physical form, right? All over the place.
Can we hold it up? Yeah.
Well, this is a really cute one.
I'm sorry.
This one
Good job.
I happen to bring with me is emoji wheels. It's emojis. But on our website, we have them in different formats. You can download them for free. You can print them off. You can buy a magnet. You can, all the things. But what is the power in this? It's being able to tune in, like it starts with myself, like what's happening with me today. And often I do it early in the morning when it's quiet and, you know, that first cup of coffee, and just like, I like to write it, but it is for me. And I do it multiple times a day. I do it when I'm in the car. I do it if I wake up in the middle of the night. That's a time when I'm like, ooh, what's happening? Something is stuck.
Yeah.
What I need to get this going. And so I just visualize it, and I run through it, and I can touch all 8 of those emotions, the most current or the last time, a big time. And then the more I share it, the more I am transparent with the people that are closest to me in my life, right? And so I think if as a church community, we simply, and what's fascinating, even this past week, twice I was with one of my grandchildren. So we have 12, and they're all around us. So, you know, you go, wow, how do you deeply connect with all 12? Well, yeah, you can show up to all of their events, all of their sporting events, all of their things, but yeah, my body is present, but how do I go deeper with my grandchildren? And this is the most amazing thing to me, to do the core emotion wheel with, and my 14-year-old grandson was with me twice this week. Once I took him to lunch, once I just picked him up from school, and I don't know how else to do it. I'm just like, can we do the wheel? And I'm super honest with what is happening with me right in the moment, and then he gets that too. Like, he gets to be that raw and honest, and it's such a beautiful moment of deepness that I don't know any other way to get there.
Yeah.
You know, I can spend a whole hour with someone and not get there.
Yeah.
And talk logistics.
Well, one of the hurdles for me early on, and I'm not there anymore, was a tool. And I'm sure there's some people watching that would like, I'm kind of, you know, I'm a knuckle dragger, right? On a good day. I resort to my Neanderthal instincts when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And for me, using the tool felt very inauthentic, right? And I believe it. I believe that I'm pretty transparent. I believe I'm pretty authentic. It felt like when I was doing this that it was like, okay, there's a wheel. I feel I feel anger that I'm doing the wheel. You know, like that was like, how do you see people? Because I know there's a lot of people out there like me, and even now, like we have it on our refrigerator, and like if my kids or my wife is like, hey, let's talk about the wheel, I'm like, you know, and I know it, and I love it, and I love the fruit, and I love you guys. Like I think for a lot of us knuckle draggers out there, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that understand what I'm saying, it's hard to cross that barrier. It might feel hokey. It might feel like so left field. And what really helped me was one, this like just the science. And I don't know, you might have said it, but for me, I'd love for you to clarify it. The foundation is if you express this stuff live, real time, it destroys basically the power that it has over you.
Well, I would say the defeat. You can say the power, I guess, but the defeat of it. I want you to feel shame. When you're a crappy version of yourself as a dad, I hope you feel shame. I'm not talking about drowning in shame for 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 years. No, I want you to go, oh, shoot. And then you turn to your child and you go, dang it, I feel some shame. I really missed with you a few minutes ago. I kind of snapped at you, and that's not the best version of me. I want to be the best possible version of your dad because you mean so much to me. I feel so much joy about you, about connecting with you, and I feel a lot of shame that I didn't handle that well. Awesome. High fives all around. Shame did its job. Now, if Will doesn't process that shame, now it's just going to build. I always say, and this is just my opinion, but based on some experience, that shame is the most dangerous of the core emotions because unprocessed shame becomes toxic. And when people live in that unprocessed shame, I mean, there's no telling where it's going to end up.
Really?
I probably get hit. Shame is my favorite core emotion because shame is inspirational. Whenever I can go, oh, shoot, I totally missed on that. That was not, I know the best version of Dr. Glenn, and that was not it.
Yeah.
So I need to shift that. And I can do that in 10 seconds, literally, not, it doesn't have to be a therapy session. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half sit down talk. So I probably, we haven't tracked it, but I probably get hit with shame just as much today as I did 30 years ago. The difference is I know what to do with it and I process it again, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 10, 15, 20 seconds, and it does its job. Phyllis says that core emotions are text messages from God, and most of us have blocked God's number. We're like, well, I never get any text messages from God. Well, you blocked his number. You said emotion was bad. And so let me mention that. I also have to mention real quickly, Phyllis is a very difficult case study. So when you talk about that, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I was.
Because again, I looked emotional. And so she had experienced me for years and years and years as that. And she's like, note to self, don't do that.
Yeah.
And, as she said, I don't do emotions. Glenn has enough for both of us. But I looked emotional, but I did not know what to do with emotion. And that's part of the power of the connection codes. It helps me to bring it down, to know what to do with it. Go, oh, I just got hit with shame.
Yeah.
That's what happened for me. Because if I don't do that, I'm going to end up being a butthead over the next hour, 2 hours, day, whatever. And then everybody's like, well, Glenn's a butthead. Well, that is true. Glenn can be a butthead, but that's because of the unprocessed emotion that's knocking him off course.
Yeah.
And he's overwhelmed. So I forgot what I was about to say about that. Was it something brilliant or just?
Well, while you're thinking of that, part of, like I was saying a minute ago, that for me, it starts with me, and it did. Like I had to find myself. I was like, I had only chosen joy. I could identify joy, but none of the others. I was like, no, never angry, never feel hurt, no, never feel sad, not lonely. I love being alone. And so it was like blank.
Yeah.
But it's because I had learned to not feel those. And then when I realized, so kind of back to what you were saying, like the knuckle, I was trying to visualize that. But
it's just like, I'm an ape and I pick things up and I put them down and like feelings. What?
But I know part of your story, and I know that there was a time in your life that you weighed a little bit more than you weigh now. Right?
I feel shame. No, I'm just kidding.
But if you And I mean,
Yeah, no, go for it.
but I would
feel
say it took tools to change that part of your
100%.
life. Like you had to get really serious about changing that in your
100%.
life. And so I think that for those who go, yeah, I don't like that, that seems inauthentic, it's to go, all right, this is one way to access your brain. If you have a different way to access that brain and you want to develop a square, and in the square you put the emotions, hey, if that works for you. But the idea is this simply is giving you a way to access that part of your brain.
Yep.
And it's kind of it becomes a habit, right? So we are wanting people to learn how to access that part of their brain quickly and efficiently.
Yep.
And to see the results quickly and efficiently. And that's what, just like with being my 14-year-old grandson, it is the moment of, how do I get there with him? This is so quick and efficient. Right. And then I see his heart and I can see the shift even, because part of what I want for my grandchildren is to be emotionally intelligent, to be able to say, yeah, I'm really struggling right now in life, and I feel a lot of shame in this and that, and I feel guilt in this, and I feel sad in that, and I feel hurt in that, and then part of it was interesting. He had a hard time accessing hurt in that minute that we had doing this, and then he finally goes, well, actually, I did feel hurt when mom had this and this with mom on Sunday. Right. And so see, he found it. And I figured it was a pretty big one. Yeah. And that's why he was having a harder time accessing it. Yeah. And, going back to the whole dishwasher, thank you for unloading the dishwasher. I had no idea that he was experiencing pain. And so that's part of the beauty of this too, in relationships. I think I'm doing the good thing. Right. I'm thanking you for, I think that's a great thing, that every marriage needs more thank yous. So, but I'm causing, his response is so snarky, like, what? It didn't make any sense. Where once I understood what was happening with him, once he was able to talk about the shame of his comparison to me, like his productivity. And of course, I never saw him that way. He was supporting us full time. Like I'm thinking, you are taking care of our family. Like I saw him as just as productive. Right. But he didn't see that in himself. But once I understood how he viewed himself, I just had more compassion, more love, more understanding. It was a huge turn in our marriage when he was able to say to me what was happening for him. Yeah. And that's the beauty of these tools as well, is that you actually see each other so much clearer. And you're able, and I know you want the depth with your children and with Musi and with your community. You want the depth.
Right. And when I experience that, I feel unstoppable. Yeah. When I feel like connected in those moments, it is one of the most empowering. Like if my wife is behind me, my kids are behind me, I can freaking take over the world. Yeah. It's a feeling, and I've done a lot of drugs back in the day. It's a feeling that is incredible. Yeah. Feeling supported and like there's nothing like it.
Yeah, well, it literally is drugs. It's chemicals in the brain, neurotransmitters that flood your bloodstream with this stuff. But I want to go back as far as this. You want to know something that's really inauthentic?
Tell me.
Going to the gym.
Why?
That is the weirdest thing. You're going to go to 1,000 years ago, people didn't go to the gym, maybe in some cultures, but but we get that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to the gym to take care of my body. But all these machines, what? I remember years ago, I was going to the gym after a period of time where I didn't go to the gym, and I get to the rear deltoid machine, and there was a little old lady in front of me. And every machine, I'm just like, I'm going to do as much as she does. And she was like 107 or something. And so I get to the rear. I'm a therapist, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, which doesn't burn a lot of calories. And so I get to the rear deltoid machine, and I'm like, that woman glued these weights together. This is so, and I couldn't budge it. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do, one less than her. I couldn't move it. And, once I got it, I don't remember if I took the little thingy out altogether or maybe I did. I don't remember. Yeah. And I could barely move it. Wow. So my rear deltoid muscle had atrophied so much that it was pretty close to useless. I mean, so it took an artificial doing that, which felt really weird. I don't even remember the motion of it. I think it's behind your back. I'm not sure. But anyway, are you a rear deltoid?
I don't go to the gym.
special?
It's
okay.
for wimps.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But I don't go to the gym. I just work.
So, and I was determined, and it didn't take me one time. I mean, I have no idea. I probably did it hundreds of times where I finally get up to the little old lady level of doing the rear deltoid. So I had to do that exercise over and over again, which felt very awkward and very inauthentic. I don't ever sit around. If you ever walked up to somebody and they're doing that motion, rear, you'd be like, what are you doing?
Right.
So it's not normal, but I'm exercising the muscle. So because I was living with a very difficult case study, and she would tell me, because I'd bring home research, and I love research, I love reading, and I just dive in, and I'd literally bring home like a 290-page report, and I'm like, baby, you got to read this. It's so fascinating. And she was running her company at the time. She's like, I'm not reading that. What are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, at least read the 17-page abstract at the beginning. You'll just be enthralled. She's like, I got 2 minutes. Tell me in 2 minutes what it's about. And I'm like, 2 minutes? This study took 7 years. She's like, I got 2 minutes. You can tell me in 2 minutes. Well, that actually, and the research bore it out later, so we devised a 2-minute tool for people to exercise this because we have been lied to hundreds of thousands of times. I remember when you were 12 months old, you didn't have facial hair back then.
No.
When you were 12 months old, you were a connection coder. You were phenomenal at the connection codes. You conveyed what was happening for you. We call it the first time, every time, anytime, all the time. Will never hesitated. And then when he was 15 months old, 18 months old, and I don't know your whole life story, somewhere along the way, he got knocked off course from people, interactions, circumstances, events, environment, whatever, we don't know. So now, and I grew up, I was born in the 60s, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, those are real men.
Yeah.
No, those are some of the most dysfunctional people on the planet, but they look cool in the movies.
Yeah.
James Bond, I've seen every James Bond movie at least 3 times, even the Timothy Dalton versions. Sorry, Timothy. And I love him. James Bond always gets the girl.
He does.
Oh, it's like, no girl would hang around with him. He's so dysfunctional. It's a movie. It's a script.
Right.
It's fake. But our psyches don't know that. So we watch this movie and we're like, oh, that's the way to be. And again, you couple all these things together. I'm told you stop your crying, I'll give you something to cry about. So, and it only took me 50 years to recover from that message. And now I cry whenever my body wants to cry. I just don't care anymore. But that took half a century to get to that. So the core emotion wheel is designed just to help people exercise the emotional muscle that has atrophied so much they can't lift a paper clip from it. And there's tons of people, Phyllis kind of referenced with our grandson, there's tons of people, they look at I hear all the time, because you can't see it on the camera, but joy and anger are at the top for no specific reason. But they say, I don't do the lower 6. I don't, and not that they're not willing to, they genuinely believe they don't. It's like, I never experience those. Right. And that's because they don't recognize them. And if you went to some, whatever, remote tribe somewhere in the Amazon and showed them this, they might not know what it is. They've never seen, whatever you want to call it, a coffee cup, a coffee mug before. So it would take them a while to recognize, coffee mug. And they would eventually learn it. So for most of us, we've forgotten so much that whenever you say to Phil, and I remember saying to Phyllis, so what happens for you with fear? She's like, fear? I don't feel any fear. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of this and this and this. And then as she started doing the wheel, she starts recognizing, I get flooded with fear every day, all day long. I feel fear of failure. I feel fear of a client firing me. I feel fear of a worker calling in sick, and then I got to figure out how to fill in the gaps there. And she started recognizing, I get strangled with fear. I'm living strangled with fear because she didn't know how to process any of it. So, and I think men are doubly cursed in this culture. I think everybody experiences that, message, stop experiencing emotion. And men, we even have sayings, boys don't cry. We don't really say girls don't cry. We wish they wouldn't, or at least like go in a closet by yourself or something. We say man up. We don't say woman up. Grow a pair, boy. We don't say grow a pair of ovaries, girl, which would be the equivalent. So with males, it's double. We're like,
there's a culture around.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say there's culture in the church especially I'm seeing it more now. You know, what is it? What is biblical man? What is manhood?
Yeah.
Biblical manhood. And I think it's good, like especially in today's culture. I think it's good. Like America wasn't built. I mean, most societies weren't built because like people are out there sharing their emotions every day. And I want to make sure that as people are watching us, you're not saying that. You're not saying walk around being an emotional mess. Which actually took me some time to get over this. And I had to sit through it and listen to you guys. It was not acknowledging this was crippling me.
Yeah.
And as soon as I acknowledge it, it loses its power.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean I'm perfect, but I don't wallow in.
Can I diverge?
You can
with you?
say whatever you want.
Because it's not that it loses its power, it serves its purpose.
Right.
So if I'm about to get on the interstate and I suddenly realize, oh, shoot, I'm getting on the exit ramp. I want to go north, and this is the southbound exit ramp. I get hit with fear.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shoot. And I put on the brakes, and then I hopefully back up and avoid disaster.
Yeah.
It's a Connection Codes protocol. As a fear-free person will soon be a dead person. So fear is serving its purpose. So I'm not trying to get rid of the power of fear. I'm honoring the fear, because the fear is going, Glenn, dude, fear's a protector.
Right.
Fear's trying to take care of me. Can I tell the Australian story that we...
You can share
the
whatever you
kangaroo?
want.
Okay, well, I don't know how much time. So this
I have a couple of questions that I want to ask you.
Yeah, and that's a long story.
But tell the story.
It's not that long.
Fast version.
Yeah, do this at 1.7 speed. So we're in Cape Australia. There's a very
Cape Australia?
Cape Hillsborough, Australia. Sorry.
Queensland. I learned that.
Very, very slightly sloped beach. So the ocean goes really far out when the tide's out. So there's tons of not spaghetti. What's that stuff called? Seaweed.
Spaghetti. It works. I understood it.
There's spaghetti everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, at 5 o'clock in the morning, hundreds and hundreds of kangaroos and wallabies come out. So we go there, and I'm having the time of my life. This is unbelievable.
Right.
I've got videos. I mean, I'm petting the wildlife. I'm feeding them. I'm hugging them, all that stuff. Well, a game warden comes up, and he goes, "That thing will rip your face off, mate."
Yeah.
And I go, "What?" And he goes, "It's a wild animal, And I'm like, No, these are my buddies. I mean, so he
You're eating spaghetti together. Yeah.
The spaghetti dinner. So he goes on to tell me, he said, I've taken people to the hospital, and the kangaroos and wallabies are not aggressive, but when they get startled, and again, it can be anything. It can be somebody sneezes.
Yeah.
They rear back on their tail, and they just swing. And they have these 6-inch claws, literally, 6-inch claw on their back foot. And he said, I've seen people ripped open, their midsection, because this kangaroo just reacted and just swung, and now your guts are spilling out. And he said, I've had to take him to the hospital. So I had no fear. That's why I look like an idiot, because the game warden has some fear. The game warden's like, that's a wild animal, Don't be petting it. Don't be hugging it. Don't be playing with it like it's your buddy. It's not. It's a wild animal. So I was fear-free. Well, this fear-free person at some point is going to be a dead person because he's going to get ripped apart, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't pay attention. I didn't have the fear. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, now I have some education. I'm actually supposed to feel fear with this thing. Don't be messing. And, we all have seen Instagram reels. Somebody wants to pet a bear.
I watch them constantly. It's some of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like
tourists.
They're fear-free.
In Yellowstone.
Like, look at this bear.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's disastrous.
Yeah.
But that's because they're fear-free. Fear is not doing its job for them.
Yeah. And ignorance.
It goes back to understanding it. Just if we start with the foundation that God created us to have emotion, and I think if you are such as where I was taught it's bad, right? Like these are the things that actually I believed would send me to hell. I had a really hard time accessing guilt and shame. It was like I was allergic to it because I believed guilt and shame is if you are feeling guilt and shame, you're pretty much knocking on hell's door. So you better pray and repent instantly. And so I was, as a young child, I remember being taught that if you died in a car wreck before you prayed for forgiveness for the sin that you had committed 5 minutes earlier, you would go to hell because you didn't pray for the forgiveness. So I was inventorying myself all day long as a little child, like, okay, God, forgive me. I don't know what I've done, but I'm sure I've done something. So just always forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. And a lot of judgment on myself. And then, when I was introduced to all this, I was like, oh, dang, if I hurt Glenn, I would say, oh, that's really sad that I hurt you, which was always so confusing to him. Like I never acknowledged guilt and shame because I didn't feel it. And then I realized, I've blocked that one pretty strongly. And then anger, I realized I was terrified of anger. So I couldn't access anger at all. And I know that comes from my childhood, growing up with 4 brothers who were really violent with each other. And to me, that was the definition of anger. Or my dad, when he would come home and whip all of us, my preacher dad, that was anger to me. So I was terrified of anger. I could see no, like the fact that I was trying to, okay, God, you've put anger, that whole righteous anger, like when Jesus turned the tables over, I'm like, ooh, that was not a good moment, Jesus. Like that's a non-Jesus moment. Like that was not okay.
That's a non-Jesus moment.
Jesus,
there
that was not a good Jesus moment,
time
Jesus,
to braid, right?
And so for me though, that I could never understand that side of anger. I could just not. For me, anger is just wrong. It's just a sin. And so I had to do a lot of self searching to understand, okay, God, you've put these emotions in us to serve a purpose. They are our guides. They are the messengers. They are such an incredible way to connect to God. He's speaking to us through this emotion channel.
Yeah.
And to understand all that changed me radically.
Yeah.
Like my ability to connect with him and with others has just changed radically. But it's quite the journey because I think that for a lot of people, when they first hear all this, it's really difficult to, it's like, wait, no, I've been taught my whole life these very solid messages. And I think that for me, that worked for a really long time. Like I loved those messages, choose faith, not fear. Oh, I'm all about that. I don't have any fear. I choose faith every time. And so I didn't acknowledge that my body, that part of my brain was firing and that it's not wrong, right? It's just a message. Be aware, pay attention.
Yeah.
There's a reason fear fires in our brain.
Yeah.
And if we don't acknowledge it, we are storing all of that in our body.
Right.
And that's what breaks down your cells. That's what breaks down your body. And so it's just like, wow, we've got to understand God's purpose and point of emotion. And that changes for people so much. Like I love that you read some testimonials at the beginning and we get them all the time where people are like, this is unbelievable. If I can simply show up and say, I'm feeling really lonely. And I think I'm amazed at how clearly that communicates, like in what way are you feeling unsupported?
Yeah.
And for people to go, well, across the board, like very successful, high-powered people will say, well, I feel very lonely because I'm the only one in this position.
Yeah.
I'm the head of this whole company. Yeah. That's a lonely place to be. But when you're able to express it, you feel the shift in your body.
Yeah.
And that's what's so huge.
I for me, processing all of this the first time, one of the verses that I looked at and started to actually like dig a little bit deeper was, truth will set you free. And I would use that as like a tool against, like, hey, like this is actually what happened. And if you will just acknowledge that, like you won't be caught up in the chaos of this half truth. Like you did this. This is true. This happened. And we can debate it, but this is actually what happened. And I actually started deep diving into that verse because I would actually weaponize that. I still do. Just less. But truth is more than just the truth. Like it is actually honest. Like being truthful. There's freedom in being truthful. I'm happy. I'm sad. Like there is actual freedom that comes in actually telling the truth. And I think the church is so scared of speaking the truth because we've been told truth is like faith looks like this, and faith is higher than A, B, or C. And truth actually looks like acknowledging it. We have a missionary. I would love for you to meet her. Her name's Liz, and Liz is good. What's up, Liz? Liz actually has one of our most viewed podcasts, and she's incredible. And her mother passed away of cancer. She goes. Wow. This story is one of the craziest stories. She goes to harvest school in Mozambique because she thinks it's a Christian farming harvest. Learn how to farm in Africa. She quickly realizes it's a mission school. We have a farm in Pemba, and she takes over the farm after the school. Calls her dad, like, Dad, I'm doing the thing I love. Dad comes over. I think her sister there as well, James? I think so. I think maybe the sister was there. So it's all that's left is Liz, her father, and her sister. Father comes over to see the farm and like see his daughter and father's from Ohio, builder, just salt of the earth. And he dies of a heart attack there in Pemba. I think he's buried in Pemba. So now it's just Liz and her sister. And all they have is her grandmother, right? And a group of like farmers that made a pact with her father, that they made, like the fathers made a pact, like if anything ever happens to us, we'll take care of each other's kids. Fast forward, war breaks out in Mozambique, and Liz stays. Most of our missionaries left, and they should, like, we love that. We told some to leave. Liz decided to stay because she's been raising 12 girls there, as well as discipling. And she's been through war. She's been through cyclones. And I've sat down and I've like gone through the script of like, hey, you probably should take like a break. And watching someone who's been through so much actually express this stuff naturally, like a healthy walk with the Lord, a healthy understanding of the scriptures, a healthy giving your life away, actually breeds this, I think, naturally. And I just heard her, I brought her out for a conference, which is why I'm sharing this story. I brought her out for a conference in California. It's the first conference she ever spoke at. And she talked about how God made our hearts big enough to equally hold joy and suffering, and mercy and suffering at the same time. And it was like, I'm sitting there listening to this missionary who's farms and kills vipers and disciples. And like, I'm hearing this is bad. Like, this is hard. And I still have joy. I can have joy that my friends survived, and I can be sad at the same time that all of our houses were destroyed in the cyclone. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to her, and it's so inspirational. And at the core, all she's doing is going, yes, this was hard. Yes, I lost my father, and I feel sad. And I also feel joy because I get to be living. Like, and people will celebrate a missionary giving their testimony that's like very vulnerably sharing it. But when they go to look at themselves, they're like, no, Tool, I'm not going to be honest. I'm not going to be real. And so I have a question for you, because we can talk for hours, and I would encourage people to watch the first one because we covered some of this and more. But I want to hit you guys with some questions.
Yeah, that'd be
Can
great.
I say one thing first?
No, I'm just kidding. Of course you can. Of course you can.
Sure.
I actually prepared some questions.
Oh, okay.
Well, and I don't want to misquote you, but a few minutes ago you said something to the effect of, how'd you say it? Something about people wallowing in emotion, or something like that. We're talking about the opposite.
Right.
We're talking about grabbing the emotion, reading the text message from God to say, okay, fear is telling me, hey, you're thinking about jumping out of an airplane.
Yep.
You might want to pay attention and make sure you're ready to jump out of an airplane because you don't have a parachute. Oh, shoot. So fear is just trying to protect me. Fear is trying to get me to pay attention, tune in, be prepared. That doesn't mean I won't feel fear when I jump out of the airplane, but I did make sure that I had a parachute that worked, that's strapped to my body, and I know how to operate it.
Right.
Those are very important messages. And if I don't feel any fear, certainly on my first jump, which I have done skydiving, I'm just going to jump out of the plane and be like, woo, this is cool.
Right.
And then about halfway down, I'll be like, man, the ground is approaching rapidly and I'll be dead soon. So I didn't pay any attention to the fear. Fear did not do its job because I didn't let it do its job. I'm like, I choose faith, not fear, and I'll be dead soon.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get people to do what they did when they were 12 months old. Just process through what's happening for you instantly, in the moment. Again, we call it the first time, every time, anytime, all the time, so that the core emotions are doing their job. They're working as our consultants, our guides. They're trying to cue us in to what's happening. If Phyllis goes out of town, I feel lonely.
Yeah.
Well, then she must never go out of town. Well, no. She's going to go out of town. But I feel the pain of loneliness. Lonely is an amazing emotion. It tells us who matters to us.
Yeah.
And if Phyllis goes out of town for a week and I'm like, no loneliness here.
Right.
She can be gone a week, a month, a year, 6 years. I don't care.
Right.
No pain for me. That tells us we have
something's up.
Here.
Yeah.
Like I never miss her at all. Well, that's not a good thing. But again, we have, and that's part of what I love about the connection codes. They're self-evident. Once you consider that, you're like, oh yeah, that only makes sense. Of course he feels pain when she's out of town. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I don't want him strangled with that loneliness. I want him to process it 27 times that week when she's gone, if that's whatever the number is. And then loneliness is just cueing me in that, oh yeah, she's real. Because there's a bunch of other women that are out of town this week.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me at all. Well, they're not in my life. They're not, I may know them, but they're not as valuable to me as she is because I live life with her.
What did you, you said it once. You were like sociopaths. Was it sociopaths or psychopaths don't feel emotion?
Right.
Like that's a condition.
Well,
or they
do. They just have blocked them. They've learned. We now know that we used to think that was true, that sociopaths don't experience guilt and shame. We now know that that's not true. They've just learned how to, and that's true with, sorry, you get me going on this. This is one of my
I loved
pet peeves. What we've done culturally is, whatever you want to label it, psychological disorders are the end of the conversation. So we say, oh, Joe's a narcissist, and everybody's like, oh, yeah.
Right.
That's supposed to be the beginning of the conversation. That's when we're supposed to do what we call the 3 phrases, and we're supposed to go, oh, wait, what's happening there? What are we missing that Joe ends up looking like a narcissist? We say, oh, she's bipolar. Oh, okay, she's bipolar. And that's the end of the conversation. That's supposed to be the beginning of the conversation. Bipolar is a result of unprocessed emotion. Almost all, not 100%, almost all psychological disorders are a result of unprocessed emotion that makes the person dysfunctional because they didn't process the emotions that were hitting them, which is the story of my life.
I hear you, and I've heard your story. What you just said is a big deal.
Yeah.
Have you seen reversal?
Absolutely.
Okay. I want to hit you guys with some questions.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you consider one of your biggest success stories in the connection codes? Like a testimony.
Me.
Separate from you guys.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Like, have you had like some Navy SEAL come in that's like, I'm a killing machine or whatever, like I've shut off, I know.
Yeah.
And and have you seen what's like some massive breakthrough testimonies that you've seen?
Yeah. And I don't know that we should say names, but I just think about, we have one of our certified coaches was a, what's he called? A homicide detective. Is that what he's called? Mm-hmm. He dealt with homicides.
Yeah.
For a bunch of years. I don't remember how long, 15 years or so. And he had, and working with first responders, military is one of my favorite things to do because we're asking them to do non-human things. You're not supposed to see, how many murders have you seen in the last 2 weeks?
A few, actually.
Personally?
I get pictures of our
No. I'm talking about where you're.
No, not like personally, but I do.
Okay, well, that's still more than most people.
More than I want
most
to.
Most people is virtually never.
Yes.
I mean, maybe once every few years.
Yeah, I know the point you're trying to make. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's in it, and we're asking him to do something that humans are not supposed to do. Emergency room doctors, the same thing. Somebody literally goes on a table, and now you're supposed to turn around and start working on this other person. Well, no, you're supposed to mourn this person. We don't have time. There's a massive car wreck, and you got anyway. So we're asking them to do things, which I honor them so much. I'm thankful that they are doing the roles that they're doing, but all the more so, we need to help them to process through what's happening for them. So anyway, you asked an example. This guy was a homicide detective, and so Saul, that was just standard for him, and he had just completely shut off everything because you can't shut off. You can't do it. We only have one psyche, one spirit from a faith-based perspective. And so, by definition, he had completely shut out his wife. He had completely shut out his children. He didn't even exist anymore. I mean, he made a paycheck, but he didn't exist anymore as a human. He was just a thing. He was a cyborg or whatever. So as he started doing the core emotion wheel and started finding himself, of course, it lit his wife up because she's like, oh my gosh, this is the guy that I fell in love with. I want to see him, his authentic, vulnerable self. But by training, he had become completely inauthentic, completely non-vulnerable. Well, by definition, he's not going to be able to connect in a deep relationship. Again, he wasn't a jerk. I mean, he wasn't, domestically violent or anything.
Yeah.
He just didn't exist anymore. He was just a shell of a person that walked around the house.
Because of his job? Because of living that lifestyle?
Well, cause and effect. It's always difficult to establish. Our culture, because he's because he's in our culture. First of all, second of all, he's a man.
Yeah.
And then third of all, he's first responder. So I think he's triply cursed in that. So as he started doing, he was very resistant at first. His wife talked to him about it. I don't remember the details. It was a long time. I think many, many months. That she kept talking to him about this thing called the connection codes. Right. He's like, oh, that's I'm a man. I don't do stuff like that. And she was very gentle, but very irresistible force, and finally got him to start doing it, and he found himself. So, I mean, again, we could give you, I think, thousands of stories of people like that. Yeah.
What's one of your favorite stories that you've seen? It's something that's marked you.
Oh, say me.
Something that's marked you on this journey.
I would say that
after Glenn.
Well, while y'all were talking, or while you asked the question, you were talking, I think of, people who have come to us. They are filing for divorce, and they've got lawyers, but they want to kind of that last, everyone wants us to have one last, be able to say, yes, we went to therapy. Right. So we find people come in with that check mark. We're not here to get back together. That's very clear. We just want to be able to tell people, yes, we did this. And for us, it's incredible because we kind of go, we just want you to be healthy, emotionally healthy, because, you guys still have a future together because you have children. And so to be able to not be hostile is really important. And then to see those people now back together, and, shouting at the mountaintop, like, oh my word, we were all, decades into our marriage, already have grandchildren, but got to that place where we couldn't stand to be together anymore. So we hired lawyers. We were ending it all. And then we found the connection codes, and these tools gave us a way to communicate. And now we're processing through tons and tons of pain. Wish we'd have found this early on, but we're on that journey now. And we actually are back together. We've had even couples where they're not even living together anymore. They're separated. And, to see the restoration of families, to see the restoration of marriages, and have tools to move forward. Because there's a lot of pain. When you've already gotten to that level, there is years and years of pain that you're now processing. And to have the way to say, ow, when it hurts, to have the ability to say, I feel fear even talking to you. And to be able to come to the table really genuine, and to hear the other person, the other person in a marriage where you've really almost have, and we have so many testimonies of marriages that have been restored, which is incredible. And then I love, for me personally, I love the stories of where these tools are used with people's children, and they bring restoration into their adult children. They're like, wow, we've just been able to go and say, we really missed a lot of things, and can we do the wheel together? This is a tool that has helped us so much. And, we get stories like that are so incredible just constantly. I would say my phone is probably full of those kinds of testimonies of people. We just had one yesterday. It was a church in Arkansas. It's a small group. And they said, we just pulled out the wheel. We'd just been with them on a cruise, on a marriage platform cruise. And they said, she said, we just winged it. Like, we didn't teach them the connection codes. We just brought out the wheel. And she said it was mind-blowing how instantly people did it, and how they went to a level in this small group that we've never been at that level. And you go, it's that simple. We had a pastor in Mexico Him and his wife have been pastoring forever in Mexico, and they were at a marriage. They were putting on a marriage conference, and there were hundreds of people in the audience. And he texts me, and he goes, "Hey, what would you think about us teaching the core motion wheel right now? Is that okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's okay. Will we do damage because we're not teaching them the whole thing? We're just going to do the wheel." I'm like, "Do the wheel? Yes, do the wheel. Absolutely. You." Please do the wheel. And so somehow they put it up on the screen in the middle of everything in this marriage conference. And so he sent me the video afterwards, and he said, "Look at all these couples doing the wheel together." He said it was transformational. He translated it into Spanish, like it all happened in a minute. And I love the power of the wheel. I love seeing people just take it and run with it. And we have teachers who use it in their classrooms.
Yeah.
So we hear these stories of classrooms being transformed because of all these things. Like, we just get those testimonies constantly.
Come on.
And love it. Just love it.
Let me give you an example real quickly, because this is a couple I sat with last week. So he's been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, and I hear this all the time. So, yeah. Well, and the caveat, two caveats here. Number one, emotions are not good, bad, right, or wrong, positive or negative, because most people look at the wheel and they go, "Why is there only one positive emotion? All the other 7 are negative?" That's not true.
I love that.
Joy, I believe, does more damage than any of the other core emotions.
What?
So all of us have made
Unprocessed joy.
Yeah, all of us have made stupid decisions because of joy. You went and bought a car. You can't afford that car. What do you?
Right.
It's going to be repossessed in 4 months. So joy must be bad. Well, no, it's not bad. It's just neutral. It's just happening. If you process it, and the joy is so intense because you love this car. It's a beautiful car. The joy is so intense, it masks the fear. There'd probably be fear there. The fear that goes, "Ooh, you can't," and probably pain too. It's like, well, sad. I can't afford that car. But you didn't notice the fear and the sad because the joy, you didn't process it. And so it overrides these other core emotions. So anyway, this couple last week, he's been diagnosed and had been on, I have to get the other caveat. Humans are very bad lab rats. It's very difficult to establish causation, to say, well, he's this way because of what happened when he was 14. Maybe. We don't know that. You can't prove it. I mean, it may look like it, but then a year later, you're like, oh, it wasn't what happened when he was 14. It's what happened when he was 9. We don't know. So I always, because those of us in the psychology field are like, yeah, we know. No, we don't. There's no way to prove that Will does what he does because of what happened when he was 12. Maybe, but we don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
So, and every human's unique. So I also have to be careful saying, oh, this worked with this guy last week, so therefore I know it will work with everybody else. Maybe, maybe not. So he deals with a very high level of ADHD. So ADHD typically, and again, every human's unique, typically is a joy experience. So what happens for him, whatever, he's supposed to take these coffee cups to the kitchen sink, and he gets distracted.
Yeah. And
that's a joy experience. And, you've heard people go, squirrel,
Yeah.
And so he sees this over here, and he feels joy about doing that task, whatever it is. And so he forgets about this one. And and what he has started doing is processing the joy in the moment, even if he's by himself, but certainly with his wife, where, he's going to put the coffee mugs away, and then he'll go, "Ooh, I just got hit with joy because I saw that, situation over there, and I want to do that." And he's like, "But I'll get to that later."
Right.
And he slows himself down, and literally it takes him 3 or 4 seconds, and then his psyche gets back to the task at hand, and his productivity has skyrocketed because he can now actually get things
That's incredible.
done. Yeah, it's just amazing. And again, this is one of many, many stories specifically with ADHD. But what he has been told, and I'm not mad at CBTers. CBT has its place.
What's CBT?
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay.
Cognitive behavioral therapy should be a stopgap measure. And what we've done as a culture for many, many decades is all CBT. That's where Freud, that's where almost everything grew out of that. So the whole idea is, no, just make him do better, make him do the task, and we give him little task management things. No, he just needs to process the emotion that's hitting. It's still firing in his brain, and instead we say, oh, we don't even say that because we're not even aware of it, but we're like, just ignore the emotion, just do the task. Well, the poor dude's brain is about to explode because he's flooded with joy looking at that over there and that over there and that over there, the squirrels. And he's not processing any emotion. He's just trying to be productive.
Where do you stand with medication?
Again, that's a stopgap measure. I don't want people, I mean, we know this now, medications long-term are pretty damaging, certainly to the liver. There's just so many side effects, the synthetic compounds of them. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I mean, if we have to, we have to.
Right.
So I'm not fussing at anybody. If I was sitting with a couple yesterday where he said it's really, really helped him in the past, I'm like, awesome, great. I just want to figure out how to get you more functional. And he's off the meds now since he's started using the connection codes, because the meds usually dampen the awareness of your authentic, vulnerable self, which is core emotions. And so he said, once I started recognizing myself, I realized, oh, I don't actually need this medication. I just need, and again, I'm not judging anybody, whatever they're doing, but we're not designed for that. You know, can there be situations where that's crucial? Yeah, there can be. I don't, I get always fear in saying that, but I don't know that I've run across any where if they can be their authentic self, they can be functional.
Do you know what time it is? You know, we've been going almost 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Like, I could literally ask you a million questions. I need to rapid fire some, and then I want you to fill us in on how people can connect.
Speaking of Phyllis, get Phyllis to answer them. Yeah.
No, let me do this. Let me do this now instead of waiting till the end. We've been talking about connection codes and how incredible it is. How can people get in touch? How can people connect with you guys if they want to know more info? Like, what's the best way?
Connectioncodes.co. And I don't know if you do show notes. Like, I would say if you go to the website, connectioncodes.co, you'll get the core emotion wheel download for free, but you'll also see all the other opportunities. Like, if you're a pastor and you want to bring this into your church, then go after the bigger, bring us in to speak. We travel all over the world. We're headed to Europe, next week. And so there's a lot of ways. If you're just wanting to start off, get the book. It's on Amazon. Like, there's so many ways to get started on this journey, and we're trying to make it as easy as possible wherever you are in the world to be able to do that. And I know I was aware of time. So I'm always like, are you doing a part A and a part B?
Listen,
like,
I can just talk. I have so many questions for you guys.
So, I don't know, you want to cut it in half, do a second part, but I do want to demonstrate the wheel before we end today, because I think there's power in understanding how this works and how this comes out.
Connectioncodes.co. We're going to put everything in the description so people can click on all the things.
Amazing.
Instagram, you guys have an amazing podcast. And what I love so much about this is it's not like there's 50 steps. You literally give the wheel away.
No.
Like, you can actually learn how to do this in 20 minutes, and you will learn how to do it in 20 minutes. And so
simple.
So
we wanted it to be simple
and ask for that. So, like, that's what I love about this. Even when we were meeting talking, you're like, it's just this. Like, you can literally listen to this podcast and probably get most of the way there, just like your friends in Mexico. They just did it, and look at it, it works. So it really is.
Well, here's another really testimony that I just have to share as far as simplicity. I mentioned it early on. Our daughter-in-law has stage 4 cancer, 2 years in the fight, and our son is weary, really, really weary, and I can't fix it, and I can't make it better. And the greatest thing I can do with him is the wheel. And even this morning I was checking in, and right now it's really hard. Like, it's a really hard season right now. And he hears the darkest moments with his wife. And when she questions, does God not love me? And that's one of the things we also teach is you have to make space for that. You have to just ooh that. And ooh is just an audible sound where you acknowledge, I hear you, I see you. And I think that even
what you just did.
Ooh, you just did it. It's so easy for us as believers to want to go, yes, God loves you. Of course he loves you. Have faith. And it's like, you can't say that to someone who's dying of cancer. That is so hurtful. And that's when they spiral all the more. It's making space for the moments when they are really, really struggling. I'm here. I'm still here. I will be here. I am here, and I hear you. And then, she turns and then she shouts to God. And like loves God, believes in her faith and all that.
Yeah.
But there's dark moments.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I would say, and I was just encouraging him this morning to just, because he goes, these are the hardest moments, Mom, when
Yeah.
she's really doubting. And I said, that's the power of of just, you don't have to come up with the right thing to say.
Yeah.
You don't have to try to fix it, because he's so weary that there's no, and it's like, yeah, that's so true, Mom. And then I want to make sure in a 2-minute wheel that he can get it all out of his body.
Yeah.
I'm the safe space for him.
Yeah.
He can say anything to me, and he can say the stuff he doesn't even want to say alone, right? Because he's trying to stay in that place of, I have to stay positive because I have to be there for our kids. I have to be there for her. I have to keep working to pay for this unimaginable amount of doctor bills. And so it's like, I love that. To me, it comes home to everyday life.
Yeah.
That when you know how to use these tools, because none of us know when that next season will be, and even working with some of your missionaries, when they have been in Haiti, when they've been in the middle of war, when they see death all around them, to be able to access this so that you stay healthy, so that you can stay and be in such horrible places, because you're not stuffing it. You're getting out. You're actually acknowledging the fear. You're acknowledging the sad and the lonely and the hurt all around you, and the guilt that you're able to get out with your family, but you had to leave behind all the others. Like, to be able to just keep processing no matter what your season is. This is really, really powerful stuff. So
I agree. That's why I love you. That's why I have you on. That's why I shout you guys from the rooftops. And yes, it's changed my marriage, but for me, if I could say, the biggest thing for me was the way that I interacted with my kids.
Love
That was really it. And it took, unfortunately, but fortunately, it took me hearing the science and the scripture, and then me diving into the scripture. So you took me on. You guys took me on a journey, and I'm really grateful for that.
Wow.
I really, really, really am, and I love you guys, and I have like tons of joy cheering you guys out, like giving whatever platform I can to get this out, because I know there's so many marriages, there's so many relationships. I talk to people every day, and they're hanging on by a thread, and the pride. Honestly, the pride of going like, I've done this, I've tried this, I've done the date nights. You guys have simplified it down to like, you've gotten all the stuff out of there, labeling my spouse as a narcissist, or like all of this stuff, like all of these catchphrases, and just being like, just share what is going on inside of you authentically. Like, just do that. Do that well. It doesn't cost you anything. Yeah. It will open you up and it will transform. And I look at it as living in the light. I look at it as the truth will set you free. Yeah. And the reality is, like, what do you lose by trying? Like, I dare all of you to just try it. And like, don't just try it to say, I did this thing and it doesn't work, to add it to your list. Like, just try it. Yeah. Just try it. 2 seconds.
What?
Well, let him say something.
Narcissism. It's getting thrown around a lot. Can you just talk to me about that? Because I've a lot of people I'm talking to, they're using that word to file for divorce, or they're using that word to separate. Can you talk to me about that? Just practical level.
Yeah. I mean, I sit with tons of people, certainly partnered pairs, where one of them says, oh, he's a narcissist, she's a narcissist. So narcissism is the result of something. Again, that's usually the end of the conversation. It's supposed to be the beginning. So what is happening that leads to narcissism? Every human's unique, so we have to be careful and say, oh, this is guaranteed the truth about it. We don't know that. But typically what I've seen is narcissism is a result of unprocessed shame. I get so flooded with shame that I can't stand it, so I have to make sure that you know that I matter because I don't feel seen by you. And so then I end up looking like a narcissistic pig because I'm just constantly putting myself forward. And my pants are on fire. You think I'm going to tune into your pain? I'm oblivious to your experience.
Right.
My clothes, I'm dying here. And so what it ends up looking like, because I don't know how to say I feel hurt, I feel shame, I feel whatever it is that's happening for me, because I don't know how to do that, I end up looking like a narcissist. And I'm completely uninterested in what your experience is, because I'm dying, I'm strangling, I'm drowning. So once, and again, I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again, once the individual starts being able to say, I feel hurt. I sat with a couple a while back that they've been married 10 or 11 years. And I'd seen her do it. She would call him baby. She would go, well, baby. And then she would say something. And we were in a session, several sessions in, he had started to learn to recognize what's happening for himself. And he was a quote unquote, he'd been labeled a narcissist by a therapist. And, she said something, and she said, baby, something, and he goes, I hate it when you say that. And she kind of startled, and I'm just, observing the show. And I said, oh, wait, what happens for you when she says that? And he goes, it's so demeaning. She thought it was a term of endearment.
Right.
She had been using that phrase with him over a decade. How many times had she stabbed him in the arm with an ice pick? Not knowing it. I'm not judging her. I'm not blaming her. So he is demeaned by her multiple times a day. Again, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about his wife, his experience of what's happening. And so multiple times a day, she tells him he's a baby. And so he's got to do something to protect himself. And that's where narcissism begins to develop, and because he's wounded and he has no idea how to say that to her. It's very interesting watching them as time progressed, because now he loves it when she calls him baby. And because we were in a session one time and she said baby, and I realized it. I don't remember if it was me or her that said, ooh, did we miss there? And he just grinned. He goes, no, I like it when she calls me that now. But he was never able to see that. Again, is he weird? I'm sure. Call him weird, whatever. We're all weird in something. I experience things differently than you. You experience things differently than Phyllis. Okay, that's just what's happening for you in the moment. So when people are able to get to, I did want to address that because I just think it's so crucial. You can be totally correct and absolutely wrong at the same time. So what we typically do, church, faith-based people, we say the truth will set you free, so I'm going to ram the truth down your throat. So when our daughter-in-law says, I don't think God loves me. Yes, he does. Well, I don't think he does. Yeah, well, he does. I'm correct. God does love her, and that will curse her incredibly for me to say that truth to her. So, and it gets into the science of it. The limbic system engages before the cortexes, and if the limbic system is flooded, the cortexes don't engage at all. So, and we're lesser, dumber, if you will, versions of ourselves because we're so flooded. So if I throw truth at her, I'm not saying it's not correct. I'm not saying it's not accurate. I might as well go talk to a tree, because I'm actually making things worse for her, because she's not able to process through the pain of feeling unseen and unloved by God. She just does. And I can tell her all day long, you stop it. You stop feeling unloved by God. Well, she's not trying to feel unloved by God. She's not trying to experience loneliness with God. She's not trying to feel hurt by God. She just does. We'll tell her to stop it. Well, she didn't start it. It's just brain chemistry. It's literally what's firing in her brain. And that's the power of the ooh. And that I was overhearing the conversation that Phyllis had this morning with our son. And it was really cool just for him to recognize, yep. And he's like, I do that pretty well. And because there's nothing you can do. What is he going to say to her? Number one, stop feeling unloved by God.
Right.
And number two, God does love you, and you better say it or something. I mean, I don't know what in the world you would say there. But to ooh her and go, ooh, wow, dang, yeah, yuck. Those are all oohs. I hear you, babe. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's intense. And she will her limbic system will get cleared out. And this is exactly what happens for her. And then she's able to think more clearly. And she's like, okay, I don't understand what's happening here, but I do know God loves me. And, you know, is this cancer ravaging my body? Yeah, it is. I don't understand that. There's a lot of pain, a lot of sadness in that. And then she'll be able to process through it. And that can happen in 3 minutes or even less than that. It's not an hour and a half thing. Okay, you were going to do some questions. So.
Actually, that was one, and it was rapid fire.
Yes, that was the rapid
I love it. It's okay. It is what it is.
I'm not
in this
sure
time.
Glenn is a rapid fire
It doesn't.
guy.
I love it. I love it all. And the reality is, I am a half hour late.
Oh, wow.
For a staff meeting, but it's worth it. I don't care. I do need to get going. And honestly, even with us starting late, we've still gone 2 hours, which I love. So, number one, will you come back on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
You promise me?
Yeah.
Well, you're just asking her, not me.
Mostly, yeah.
Yes.
And listen, here's what I would like to do, and I've only done this with one other guest. I don't even know if we had them back on, but what I would like to do is I want you to send in your toughest questions. Write it in the comments section. If you think that this is a bunch of malarkey. You like that?
Yeah.
What was the word you were using before?
Malarkey, not malarkey.
Before we were talking, it was like that. It was a good one. We were talking. It doesn't matter. I want you to tell us why, and we're going to address those next time.
Cool.
That's amazing.
Okay. And I want you to reach out and connect with these guys, get their book, sign up for their courses. Just do it and try it. What do you lose? What do you lose? You don't lose anything. It's blessed my life, and I meet so many people that it blesses their life. You guys, I would love it if you would model what you're like real time.
Yeah.
If you can,
real quick, less than 2 minutes.
Oh,
yeah,
you know me.
No, well, you can just take your time.
No, it's supposed to take 2 minutes per person.
Listen, take a little bit more. Walk us through exactly what you're doing. You know, but and listen, you can print this off, and you could do what they're doing and try it, and just try that.
Okay, so just to go over, we encourage you not to hold it because then it becomes what you focus on. So you just lay it between you. We also say 2 minutes each. And the reason we say that is that you're not trying to prove that your emotion is valid. You're not trying to explain yourself. You're just getting it out of your body. So think of it as it's got to be quick. It's the most recent time you felt this emotion, or the last time, or a really big time if you can't think of something current. And if you can't think of anything at all, then make something up, because you're trying to connect to that region of your brain and you're waking it up saying, hey, this is what this feels like. You're connecting with that. And then you're really working with your own body to get it out. So
and the signs of that is if it takes 2 minutes, you might do it again tomorrow. And that's our goal, is to get you to do it every day. It's an exercise. You want to go first?
You want me to go first?
Yes, I can go first. And also the other person is simply going to ooh. She's just going to hear me, just be present with me. She'll be audible, not silent. There's a big difference. There's a lot of science behind that. No defending, explaining, justifying. She's just going to
I'll go first.
Oh, okay.
Okay. A lot of joy connecting with our son this morning, just hearing his voice. A lot of joy with the weekend that's coming up.
Cool.
I had a lot of joy last night with you on our date.
Oh,
that
gracious.
was super fun.
Yes.
Let's see. I would say anger, just I felt anger this week that with connection codes, I don't feel us going unified as we need to. I think that's my fear too, is just how to keep the team working on the same things, going in the same direction. And I feel that that's under unity. I feel guilt and shame in multiple things. I would say the times that I miss with you because I get busy and get in a hurry and I don't always see you.
Oh, wow.
And then I know that causes hurt. So I feel guilt and shame in that. I feel some guilt and shame right now in just having been distracted and not seeing what our team needs. So I feel definitely some guilt and shame in that.
Wow.
I think fear in just pulling it all back together in the unity of the team and the direction that we're going in. Lonely, I think we travel a lot and it's my responsibility to get all of those things put together, and we've got some big trips coming up. So there's always a little bit of lonely, just a lack of support in getting all the details done. There's a list. Sad, I would say definitely just in the last week, my sad has been around doctor visits for our daughter-in-law, and the reports are never good. So there's been a lot of tears. I felt a lot of sad this morning, and just really shed some tears because I feel Satan's attack on our team. Probably hurt in that too, just the what's going on, and just really acknowledging and seeing just the attack. I think just feeling that in my body, the hurt.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. For me, the hurt, the same. I'm an influencer. I'm not much of a leader. I don't have that skill set, and so I end up being not seen.
Wow.
Certainly feeling not seen.
Yeah.
And there's pretty sharp stabbing pain, and that lots of sadness. Misses with our team members.
Yeah.
There's so much to do, such a huge mission, and I just feel really sad and anger in that too. And there's the core level anger of I'm driven for this. We're old. We've worked a long time, been very diligent, and we could just sit on the beach and drink margaritas, virgin margaritas, of course.
Yes.
But anyway, we're very driven to make this happen. Fear with some of our team members as far as what's going to happen next. I certainly want to pay attention, tune in, and make sure that we're navigating well. Lots of guilt and shame. I wish I knew how to do things better. I'm a visionary. I'm not an implementer. And I wish I had more of that, because I know the team bears the weight of that. There's loneliness in that. I see the big picture. I know where we need to go. And it's sometimes lonely trying to get other people up to speed on it. But tons of joy with this whole mission. Getting to do it with you is just, I'd do anything with you.
Wow.
But getting to travel the world, and it's just so fun. You make our grandkids say, honey makes everything more fun. And that's certainly true. That's certainly my experience with you. And yes, last night, I don't know if we set any world records, but it was a couple personal bests.
Yes.
So that was pretty wild. So lots of joy in that.
Wow.
I feel shame for what no, I'm just kidding. I love that.
It's true.
You guys are incredible. Listen, I felt awkward the first time I did this. And I will be honest, I still do. It's because it's taken me a long time to get there. And do you remember when I brought you guys in for was it 10 of our missionary guys? And it was so funny to put it in a room with missions, amazing men.
Yeah.
They're doing incredible things, that love their spouses. And even that, watching some of them jump on, watching others be like, ugh, watching others be like, that's not the Bible. It was so beautiful. So I just want you to know, and I've watched some of them turn. And I should tell you some of the stories later on, how even some that were like, I'm not doing that. And to see when their marriage did hit a wall, they began to turn to this. It's awesome.
Wow.
But that's going to be for the next time.
Yeah.
So will you please come back?
Yes, absolutely.
Seriously?
I love the idea of answering questions.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. That's amazing. Love that.
And I do. I still have tons of questions, but I got to run. And I don't want to run, but I need to. Because I didn't book enough time. But I love you guys. And listen, how many podcasts are going to fight for your marriage?
Wow.
And honestly, at the core, that's all I want. I want all of you who are watching to do something. And there's so much struggle out there. There's so much pain. There's so much hurt. There's so many people that are just on the edge. And I know that because I've lived there so many times. And I dare you to try this. I do. And if I'm wrong, you can tell me, and you never have to listen.
And I always tell people, try it for 90 days. It won't eat up your liver. It doesn't. Just try it for 90 days and see where it takes you.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for
absolutely
loving the church. Thank you for not just settling for, it's just the way it is. And I've studied this, and we're going to, thank you for doing something and doing it well and laying your lives down. And when we had coffee a couple of days ago, just hearing your desire to get this in front of people without any like desire for personal gain. And I love that. Because I know that off screen, like this, you're not doing this to make your names famous. You're doing this because, and I've sat there as you've wept over families and broken marriages and broken, like, I love that about you. Never change. And, so thank you for putting up with me and all my garbage. And thank you for loving me and my wife well, and the impact that you've had on so many people. Seriously, I love it. And I love you guys. And I think the world of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming. And guys, thank you for watching.
Yes.
Hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, ask a question. The next time we get you guys back in, and we'll have to wait. I mean, we won't wait 2 years. We'll do this. We'll do this again when you guys are available. And I want you to hit them with some hard questions.
Yes.
Push back, and we'll go from there. Sound good?
Sounds great. Love it.
I don't want to give you a handshake, but I will.
I'll do the left hand so it looks more
It does.
relational.
I love you guys.
Love you.
Thank you for coming on the little green room.
Yeah.
And guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Yes.
Thank you for watching.
Amazing.